There was a certain church in our city that a little family went to this church, and the church was just more like a denomination that believed that they're kind of taught God to be a historical something. And so there was a little boy in a Sunday school class that got enthused, and he said to his mammy, he said, "Mother, if God is so great, and why can't I see Him?" "Why," the mother said, "Sonny, I don't know." Said, "Can I see Him?" She said, "I don't know. Why don't you ask your Sunday school teacher?" And so the little boy at the next Sunday school said, "Teacher, I want to ask you something that my mama cannot answer." Said, "Can anybody see God?" "Why," she said, "I don't know." She said, "Ask the pastor." So the little boy, with his enthusiasm, went to the pastor and said, "Pastor, I wish to ask you a question that my mama or neither my Sunday school teacher can answer me." Said, "This great God that you talk about, is He not the God of the human race?" "Yes, sonny, why?" Said, "If He is God, then can anybody see Him? I'd like to see Him." "Oh," he said, "Sonny, no one can see God. God is not to be seen." The little lad was disappointed. So he used to go up on the river with old Brother Wiseheart to fish. One day coming down, and Brother Wiseheart with his silver-tipped beard was about 75 years old, and they'd had a lovely catch up on the river and was coming down. There come up a storm, and it run them into the bank. And they went to the bank, and they rested till the storm was over, got under some trees and back under the big maples and so forth until the storm had passed. And then, after the storm was over, they pushed the boat out and started down the river. The little waves, and only an oarman know what it is to feel that music of the tipping of the oars as against the waves, the little clatter of the waves. And the sun was setting in the west. And back in the east, from which they had come from, the little boy was sitting in the stern of the boat, and there was a rainbow comes out across the sky as God made a promise that the world would no more be destroyed with water. And the old fisherman, as he began pulling these oars, kept watching that rainbow. And after a while, they noticed great, big, glistening white tears running down his cheeks over his great-tipped beard. And the little boy watched the old man for just a few moments. He got so enthused, he ran up into the center of the boat, fell down by the old fisherman's lap, and he said, "Sir, I'm going to ask you something that my mother, our Sunday school teacher, our pastor can answer." He said, "Can anybody see God?" The old fisherman, overcome by the question of the little lad, pulled his oars into the boat, throwed his arms around the little lad and held him into his bosom, and weeping, he said, "God bless your little heart, honey. All I've seen for the past 50 years has been God." He had so much God on the inside of him, he could see Him everywhere. That's the way you see God. You get God inside of you. If you got skeptic and wonders and fluctuations and doubt, you'll never see God. You've got to let God come into you. Then He'll open your eyes.